The following program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision. It's time now for the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Here's your host for the program, Joseph J. Zoppi.
Hello, welcome to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, a real estate investor, consumer advocate, author, and managing partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You could reach us at templarcashforhouses.com. That's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. That's one word. Or you could call us at 973-240-8593. Again, that's 973-240-8593, and we could answer any questions you may have, or you could email us from our website with any questions you would like discussed on this show, or any questions in general. For my first-time listeners, my company is a real estate investment firm. We buy houses for cash, we purchase apartment buildings, we do joint ventures with other real estate investors, we loan money for rehabs and provide transactional and gap funding. We work with individuals that want to invest with us in single-family houses up to apartment buildings. We do not speculate, and we're very protective of our money and our investors' money. I'm not a real estate agent, we're not a brokerage, but I have individuals on staff that are agents that will sell your house through the traditional multiple listing service. This show will go over everything there is about real estate and those things that impact real estate. We'll talk about our rehabs, some of our investments, what went well, what did not go well, and especially how we learned from it and overcame those problems. We'll talk about the economy and interest rates. We'll discuss trends in the real estate market. Real estate is one of your biggest investments, so it's important that you know as much as possible about it. I'm going to provide you with my opinion. It's only my opinion. I ask everyone to do lots of research in anything they do, and always double, triple check everything. I always say it's always good to get recommendations, but remember, when you're getting a recommendation from a person, just don't get a recommendation. Ask lots of questions, because what's going to happen is that if you like the person, it's great. But if you don't like the person, well, it might affect your personal relationship with that person that's giving you the recommendation. So I'd ask you always to do lots of research and ask lots of questions about that person or the service, and make sure you peel back the onion, and are they timely, do they communicate, so on and so forth. That's extremely important, and I can't say that enough. I'd like to do a shout out to some of my favorite listeners. I have, of course, Livingston's famous crossing guard Paulette, and Tim from Cedar Grove Water Department. Also, I have Barbara and Don, and also John. So, hey guys. Next thing I'd like to talk about is, again, if you're interested in selling your house fast and you need cash immediately, please give me a call. Sometimes the reason why you want to sell your house fast is just there's a lot of maybe bad memories. So I just purchased a house, or it's under contract from a widower. So for her, there's just a lot of memories at the house, and she really just wants to get away. It's reminding her of her husband, and it's really just bothering her. And the place needs some work, and it's just easier for her and her grandson to say just sell it to an investor. So it really depends on the situation. Sometimes it's because of medical issues and you need money for that. Sometimes it's for a crazy neighbor. So there's a gamut of reasons why someone wants to sell their house fast for cash. Sometimes you have an inherited home, or sometimes it just goes into disrepair. And, under any of those circumstances, or whatever the case may be, we're always here for you. And also, if you want, we could always list it through the traditional multiple listing service. That's always an option. And I could have one of my staff members come by, take a look at it, run the comps, and then talk different scenarios. One of the things that we do recommend, depending on the time of year as well as where the market is, whether you should invest money in the house or you should not. Right now, for the most part, we're not recommending you put too much money into the house. On other situations, we're saying, just invest another. If you could invest 5,000 or whatever the case may be, even 1,000 sometimes, you'll get it back, twofold, fivefold, tenfold. It really depends. Especially, some paint. That's always something that brightens up a room and just makes it a lot cleaner. It just through the years, paint becomes dingy, fingerprints on the wall, so on and so forth. So just even a coat of paint, they always recommend it, and it is a really good recommendation to do things like that. Also, coming up, hopefully within the month, I'll be having certain sessions in our office. We do have private discussions in our office all the time, but it'll be more formalized, where if someone's interested in investing passively in real estate, we're going to be giving some classes out in terms of what to do and what not to do, so you are successful. It doesn't matter if you're going to invest with us or someone else. We always like to give this out and make sure that people are protected. That's one of the things that's really the foundation of who we are and what we drive for, is to make sure that people are educated and they make good, sound business decisions when it comes to real estate. That's paramount to us. I hate when I hear these stories of people that have invested with individuals that don't have a track record, and then they're trying to get their money out and they can't, and it's just one big mess. And it just I don't know what to say to that. And you can't go after something that has no, you can't get blood from a stone, basically. And that's really the situation. Sometimes individuals have did one house or two houses, and then they're looking for private funds, and someone talks them up, and before you know it, someone else invests, and all of a sudden they purchase a house for too much money. Their contractor bailed out on them, and then they're stuck with the house that's partially rehabbed, and they can't sell it, they can't fix it, so on and so forth. So that happens all the time. There's a lot of times where someone comes to us and starts a construction project, and then they realize it's more difficult than what's on TV. And they might have even done a house and fixed a few things up, and they were fortunate to make some money, and then they said, okay, well, we're going to go further into it, and then they have something that's a bigger project, and all of a sudden they run into problems upon problems upon problems, and then all of a sudden they're underfunded and they can't complete the job. That's one of the things with us, is we're well funded, and you don't have to worry about that. We're very, very conservative in terms of the way we underwrite or determine the project and the cost of it, what we could sell it for, and the total effort. And we run things through a lot of spreadsheets, and we're always doing different projections based on where the market's going, where it's changing, but we always have a very conservative number as a worst case scenario. And that's how we look at it from a risk perspective. And that's very, very important. Some individuals, when they're purchasing a house, they're always saying, well, it's going to go up again another $20,000. And you can't be doing that. And it doesn't matter how strong the market is. That is not the way to analyze an investment, underwrite an investment, and really jump into an investment. That is extremely really bad. I can't say it enough. That's really bad if you do that. And that's the problem. Last year, towards the end of the year, I wasn't buying as many houses. We were being a little conservative. So we bought a number of houses, but not as many as we normally do. And we wanted to make sure that it was purchased at the right price and we could sell it, conservatively in case the market went south. And that's the biggest thing, because you don't know when the market's going to go south. You don't know if it's going to be a black swan event. You don't know anything. You don't know right now if interest rates start going up for some reason because of inflation, and all of a sudden things start drying up. You don't know, and you always got to factor those things in. And that's why I always like the way we look at things and make sure that we're safe and our investors are safe. That's extremely important. That's why I always say in the beginning, we do not speculate. Speaking of speculation, speculation isn't bad if you know you want to put in a certain amount of money and you could potentially lose it. And that's the big thing. I don't speculate on real estate. We just don't. I don't speculate on my business at all in terms of any of our investments. But, I know a lot of people that want to go into crypto and all this Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all these other things, and that's very speculative. And just be wary. If you are going to put some money into it, think of it as, okay, I could lose 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever thousand it is. Think about that. And if you're fine with that, that's all well and good. But you have Bitcoin, where all of a sudden Elon Musk talks about it and says that he's going to purchase it. Tesla's going to purchase some, and also Tesla's going to accept Bitcoin. What happens? It goes through the roof. It starts going up. And now all of a sudden he's saying, and this is months later, it's not like years later, months later, he says, well, Tesla's not going to accept Bitcoin anymore. And he didn't say he's not bullish on it. I forget what words he used. Now Bitcoin's going down, and it's lost a considerable value as a result of it. It was up at $60-something thousand, and now it's down considerably because of that. And if you want an investment like that where someone says something and it goes up or goes down, well, then that's good. But that's not my type of investment, and that's not one for my family and my future, or I think any of my investors, private investors, none of them. So just be wary of that. It gets me crazy when these things go up and people jump into it and say, I'm going to start investing in crypto, and they're putting considerable money into it. Of course, again, it's risk, so you could make tons of money on it. Maybe it's going to go to $100,000, and you bought it at $9,800 last year. That's great, and I'm happy for you. But again, just be wary of the upside and the downside, specifically the downside. Be more conscious of the downside. Obviously, it could run up to whatever, $200,000. Who knows? But, if you're willing to lose that money, then that's okay. So we'll just close out on that. So I'll be right back shortly, and we'll pick it up in a few minutes. Again, if you wanted to give us a call, you call us at 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. Okay, see you in a couple.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. My name is Joseph J. Zoppi, Managing Partner of Templar Real Estate Enterprises. You can reach us at 973-240-8593. Again, that's 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. That's TEMPLAR cashforhouses.com. That's one word. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is one of the houses we're in the process of purchasing. I was telling you about there was a widow, and she wanted to sell her house, and she didn't want to deal with agents, and there was some disrepair in the house. It wasn't too bad, but there were some issues, and she just wanted to sell it quick. She was very apprehensive about this because she just wants to move on. There's a lot of memories in the house with her husband, and she just wants to leave the house and just move forward. And her grandson is helping manage the estate, and we went under contract. It was pretty easy and straightforward, and most of the time the contract and attorney review process is very, very quick and easy with us, because we're going to take all liability in terms of what the house is, and we're going to accept it as is. So there's not much to it in terms of attorney review. Sometimes the attorney wants a couple of things, and we almost always say yes to it. They're usually not unreasonable, and even a few unreasonable things we've already said, okay, that's fine with. But it went quick, and we're right now in the process of doing different inspections. We always do inspections. We don't do is use that inspection to nickel and dime a person to change the price that we gave them. That's extremely important. It's only on extremely major things. So if there's a structural issue that we didn't know about, then we might have to have a discussion on that. Or there's termites that we didn't see, and the inspector catches it, and there's lots of damage to the wood and the structure itself. Well, then again, we might have to have a discussion on that and see about certain concessions. But holistically, it's accepted as is, and I just have to accept it, and we factor certain things in as a result of that. So we went through a couple of inspections. We went through the internal house, standard inspection, inside, outside. And again, that was, we knew there was some problems, and there was no surprises. And even if there was, again, if it's not a major surprise, then it's fine. We also, because it's well water, we had to do a well test in terms of the water, and that's coming back. We're hoping and expecting not to have a major issue with that. That could be a potential major issue. The other one was their septic system. So I hate septic, and I always shy away from them, but we do houses with septic. They're just a pain in the neck, and this one looks like it failed almost every single possible thing on the inspection list. And so they're going to it's going to be a system that needs to be replaced. And, I'm concerned because I haven't done one in a little over a year, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take. Also, the, seller's going to have to give some concessions as a result of that, because we did not factor that in. So we are concerned about that. That's a major thing that could easily go $40,000, $50,000. So that is a problem. The other thing that occurred is that they had solar, and solar's good. I have no problems with that, but it's a lease, and my partner requested the contract. So I get the contract, and I'm reading this thing. I'm going, holy mackerel, is this a bad contract? And they entered into it in 2017, and it is so bad. And I don't know if the solar company, was just preying on these people because they were old or what, because it is horrendous. And I looked at that thing, and what it is basically they're leasing out the solar panels for 20 years, and they're saving per month like $20. They're estimating just $20. And on top of it, normally when you have solar and you purchase it, you get the tax credits associated with it. Well, the solar company's also getting the tax credits out of it. So they're not benefiting in any way possible the homeowners. And as a result of it, if they sell the property, they have to either purchase what's left of that contract, and it's a $70,000 contract. It's only been in there for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. But there's like $60,000 left in the contract. Or the other option is they could have the buyer, which would be us, to take over the lease, but we have to go through a credit check, which we have no problem with the credit check, but then we would have liability of it. Now, we're not going to keep this house more than five months, so then the liability would be on us, and the same contract would be in effect, basically. And then we would either have to purchase it outright, which would be probably about $60,000, or we'd have to have someone that's buying the house really want that solar panels, and they're not gaining anything out of it. Whereas they could purchase a new system and then get the tax benefits of it, and be considerably less. So it's not a good situation. I had spoken to the grandson, and I said basically sell the house. And originally he said, well, I guess my grandmother's going to have to pay for it. And I was like, there's no reason why she should be paying for this. This was very exploitive. There is no good that came out of this, and it was only for the solar company. The other thing is that every year the contract goes up, and what's really bad about that, so it starts out around 200, 250 possibly, and goes up to $480 or something over 20 years. And what else is bad is that as time progresses, those solar panels become more and more inefficient, just like a battery. You do a rechargeable battery. As time progresses, it doesn't hold the charge as much. Well, there's no difference with, this technology. It doesn't absorb the light as much, and it's not as efficient. So you're paying more, the efficiency is less, and then you're going to have to probably pull stuff off the grid as a result of it for what it's not, using, or the inability of it to work efficiently. So there is nothing good in this contract. I send it to a buddy of mine, which has a solar panels on his roof, and he said, "Joe," he says, "you just made my day." He says, "I thought my contract was bad," and he didn't have a really bad contract, but you always think you have a bad contract. And he said, after I saw this contract, holy mackerel, there was nothing good out of it. So please watch these contracts, what you're getting out of it, and what you're not. I told the grandson for this is, basically sell the house, I'll give you the money, and then afterwards I'll talk to the solar company, and they could potentially try to go after the estate, but there's not going to be anything in the estate to go after. So, as they say, let them pound sand. And this was just an exploitive contract, and it infuriates me. So I'd be more than happy to call them up and say either we renegotiate or you take these things off my roof and take them off within the month. So I'm looking forward to that discussion if that does occur, because it was crazy, and I'll make sure that the contract is in my favor, not theirs. That I guarantee. So I'll keep you posted on that one, because that's just, again, I think it's close to criminal in terms of what was going on there. Criminal. The other thing is we were starting a rehab in one of our houses, and we started doing demo. So, where possible, I always like to use, family members and friends of family members on certain things. Of course, they got to, I have high expectations, so they know that. But, demo is an easy, straightforward thing to do. So I had my son and his friends doing demo on one of the houses over for 2 days, and they did a great job. And anything that they didn't know how to demo, it was basically look at the YouTube. Again, it wasn't any type of finish work or anything like that where I needed someone that had a skill set associated with it, that's been developed over time. So when I could, I'll use them, and when I can't, I can't. But it was good seeing my son. I'm glad he's back from college and finished with college. He just passed his nursing exam, which was very happy with. I knew he was going to do that, but him and his friends were using sledgehammers and everything else to take off molding, remove tile, and everything else associated with the kitchen. One of the things that he was having a lot of problems with, him and his friend, was the bathroom. So all the tile had underneath like a coat of almost cement and a wire mesh, and it was horrendous getting it off. And that's the thing, when you start opening these houses, you really don't know what you're getting into. And in the walls itself, there was like a concrete also, and it was wrapped around pipes. So it was just horrendous. He had to go around to the other side of the other room to go through the bathroom. It was horrendous. It took him hours upon hours to get rid of all the tile and bring it down to its studs, which I don't always do. Most of the time I don't, but with this house, it just seems like there's like one can of worms after another. There's another room has like the cement board, and it's not really a cement board. It's almost like a cement, and that's all has to be broken up. So it's one catastrophe after another. It's crazy. But that's the name of the game. Not to mention, as I always say, is the lumber prices and material prices. So last year, a year and a half ago, or a year and a quarter ago, we were, about a little over a year ago, in January, we were getting doors and door jambs, the entire system, with the door at Home Depot for $65 per door plus the jam and everything. And right now it's like 109 or 110. So I'm just beside myself with the material costs, how much they've gone up, almost literally, 100%. So our budgets are getting stretched a little bit, but again, you have to work smart and you have to figure out different alternatives in terms of what you do, what you're not doing. It's not going to be that bad because the price has gone up considerably. We were very, very conservative on this. We could have an extra 100,000 in terms of the selling price on this because I was so conservative. So I'll make out in the end, but some people won't. So I got to close out the session. Thank you very much for everything. You give us a call at 973-240-8593 or TemplarCashForHouses.com. God bless, take care, and have a nice weekend. Bye.
Life can be a roller coaster, and sometimes you need to sell your house fast. That's why there's TemplarBuysHouses.com. Maybe you're downsizing, getting a divorce, having health or financial issues. If so, head to TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com will buy your house quickly and without hassle. If you've inherited a house that is vacant, contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. Dealing with them is easy and quick. No high-pressure sales tactics, and you won't have to fix up the house. They will buy your house as is. You pick the closing date and when you move out. No commissions and no hassles. Contact TemplarBuysHouses.com. TemplarBuysHouses.com. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Call 973-315-7990. That's 973-315-7990.
Be sure to listen to the podcast of the Templar Real Estate Talk Show. Find it now at TemplarBuysHouses.com.
The preceding program was paid for by Templar Real Estate. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major decision.